Hey, Clip Butler here. I'd like to welcome you. And what I'm going to do is walk you through. This is the exact process that I use for every website in page speed optimization. Now, you can be on the bandwagon of faster site means higher rankings, or faster site means better usability, which leads to higher rankings. Either way, you have to have a faster site. So we're going to show you how to get it, trying not to be as technically confusing as possible. I will be leaving some things out, and the purpose of that is that I can't tell you this, check this, and this, and it's going to make every site faster. It just doesn't work that way. There are things that influence it. Number one being your hosting. Number two, since this is WordPress centric, is your WordPress theme. Number three is your images. And your images take up probably about 99% of what is going on with the site, making it slow. And then your hosting and your theme carry up into the rest of that mess. So what we're going to do is take you through the process, exactly how I do it, and over time you're going to be able to fine tune, figure things out for specific hosts. And when you're optimizing your sites or your client sites, you're going to have a jump start on what is going on. All right, so the first thing we want to do is this is the Pingdom website speed test. We're going to test this site for Tyler Perez. Now, Tyler's main target is in California, so we want to know what is his page speed in California. We don't want to test in Dallas. We don't want to test in Stockholm. His customers are in California. Test for California. Now, if his customers happen to be in Arizona, obviously we'd still test in California. If you're in New Mexico, hey, let's test in Dallas because it's a little bit closer. So, play around with that, use your map, and apply some common sense. So let's go ahead and test that now. I am also going to test in GTmetrix. This one will test from Vancouver, Canada. See? And it tests on Firefox. So you're going to see two different results here and kind of why I do that. So let's go back here. All right, so page speed is 3.95 seconds. Kind of slow. 42 is faster than 42% of websites. I'm not happy with that. Request is 106. Page size is 2 megabytes. I like to have that page size down to 1 to 1.5. And I'll show you how to do that in the process. As you can see, his hosting is really slow to respond, but today it's testing better than it tested earlier today, so that's good. And then we have a lot of CSS, and what else do we have here? PHP that we can fix, a lot of JavaScript that we can fix. This is looks like another probably JavaScript. It's kind of slowing down the load. Some images, some more JavaScript, some more images, some rather big images as a matter of fact, and some Google stuff and third-party stuff. So not horrible. However, knowing where his competition is, we definitely need to get that fixed. Let's go over to GTmetrix. Here's the performance. You can worry about the grades if you want to. If you want straight A's, then knock yourself out. As you can see, Vancouver, Canada, and check out the difference in the load time. Again, his clients and his target audience are in California, so we care more about how this one returned out versus this one. This is just a good place to go. So we look at leverage browser cache, the JavaScript that I identified in those test results. Yep, we got to work on that. Images, not too bad. Let's see what YSlow says. This is add expires headers. That's browser caching. We'll fix that real quick. That'll be easy. Few HTTP requests, we can fix that, and a content delivery network, only Tyler can fix that. But I'll show you some recommendations on what I would do with this if it was my site. Page load size is again almost 2 megabytes, so we definitely want to bring that down. and then you can see this fancy waterfall. And there you go. If this one is long, just like if this is long here, then your host is going to be your number one issue, because it's just taking your host too long to start sending data to the browser. Let's go look here. We can find, again, there's that JavaScript. We want to get rid of that. And then what's else? Some more styling, more JavaScript, and then these are all images. We're going to reduce the load size of those too as we go through. All right, I've already logged into Tyler's website, and what we're going to do is first clean up the mess. So the first thing I always do is update the plugins and the themes. I've already gone through and done that. Now we're going to go look at the plugins a little bit more closely. We want to get rid of plugins that are adding things to load or doing things that you can kind of combine with multiple plugins. So let's go super fast cache. We're going to deactivate that for him. What else are we going to deactivate? I actually should have clicked that button. It would have been a lot easier. So I'm going to deactivate that. We're going to get rid of that. He doesn't need that. And it's actually pretty light. I've seen worse. I've seen people with worse or more plugins. So we're going to get rid of that. So this, and this. So Tyler's going to be a little bit lighter. And we're going to apply. All right. We don't want those. I'm going to deactivate this to get rid of the message so it doesn't bother us anymore. And let's check one more time to make sure I don't have anything crazy going on in here. All right, so that's good. Now, I like and prefer to use W3 Total Cache. So I'm going to go ahead and install that now, because we're in the plugins. Depending on the website host is which plugin I would use. I either use Total Cache or WP Rocket. I don't use that Super Cache plugin. That thing's garbage. And then all those little ones that are showing up that just do caching and all that other stuff. It doesn't make any sense to me to have one that does caching and another one that does minification and another one that does browser caching and another one that does object caching, when you can have a good plugin that's maintained all the time that does everything. So when you install W3 Total Cache, you're going to see this edge mode here. You just click and enable edge mode. You can read that if you want to. You just trust that it's good. And then what I am going to do, because everything is shut off, I want to show you in here everything is shut off right now. Okay, so page cache, minify, all that stuff is shut off. The only thing that's turned on is browser cache. And that's all shut off. Okay, so we're good. WordPress SEO extension, you just go ahead and activate that. To do that, you click here, or you can click that button. Some installations, if you click that, WordPress yells at you and asks you if you're sure you want to do it. So just click, save yourself the drama, click extensions, and come in here and activate it if you're using WordPress SEO. If you're using Genesis and you need that framework, you can turn that on if you want to. However, in order to get the full advantage of it, you have to pay for W3 Total Cache Pro. I have a Genesis site. I've used W3 Total Cache Pro. Didn't make any difference whatsoever. So it's really up to you. FeedBurner I don't use. Typically, Cloudflare, don't activate this ever. Ever. Don't activate this ever, because It's not. What it's basically doing is it's sending a series of commands to Cloudflare that you already have set up in Cloudflare. So why would you need a set of commands to tell Cloudflare to do what you've already told it to do? So don't use it. I've actually seen it slow down sites. It never helps. So just keep it turned off. Okay, so next what we're going to do is optimize our images. And I've added WP Smush Pro to the site already. I'm going to go in there. Now Tyler's host is kind of, to put it bluntly, it's horrible. So this took forever to do. You're going to see on some hosts it takes forever. Other times it flies by real quick. This process here actually took me probably about 4 hours to get through all of the optimization. And I'm going to show you why in a second. But on the free version, all you're going to have is this button right here. Just click that, push save changes, and then down here it'll say bulk smush. And on this version, you click on those other two check marks here. You can use this if you want to store the original images on top of your optimized images. I don't know why you would want to do that. But if you do, click on that. You're just going to need some extra space in your on your server. What it did is it smushed the images, the original file, and it also smushed the other 18 images that his theme chooses to create out of that original image for specific purposes within the theme. Now, the theme is already doing it, but it's not optimizing. So what WP Smush did was optimize all those 18 images too for all 355, and that's why it took so long in this particular case. His theme is just it's a hog, and it asks for a lot of stuff. So we clean that up, and now we're ready to optimize. The first plugin that I'm going to use is WP Rocket. Now WP Rocket is a lot more user friendly than W3 Total Cache. However, it's missing a lot of the optimization features that you would get out of W3 Total Cache as well. So it's a trade-off. The settings for it are really simple. Just click images and iframes, click on HTML here and click on these two. You're going to get a pop-up when you click on that. I'll show you just like that. You can click on OK if you know what you're doing. If you're worried about it, don't use the minification. Minification is what breaks everything. I know I've already went through this entire process, so I know what was breaking the site and what isn't. In his case, in JavaScript, minification breaks the site, breaks the theme. It just hates it. And then there's some CSS code that had to be adjusted so that when minification happened, those codes were exempt from minification. So, and that's really all there is to WP Rocket. It's crazy easy. You click on the advanced options. Here's the code. These sets of code that I had to exempt. I tried it with the JavaScript. Obviously, it didn't work. Any JavaScript minification broke it at all. Here you integrate your CDN if you want to. If you're using it, I suggest at least at a minimum use Cloudflare. It's free. Why not use it, right? And then some other stuff here. You can clear your caches, etc., using all this FAQ and support, which you can check out all by yourself. That's it. WP Rocket is crazy easy. Here's the speed test that I got out of it. However, you see is the performance grade is significantly lacking, and when the speed test is showing, but the speed test is showing is pretty good. Loading wise, considering the host and stuff. So I'm going to go to PageSpeed Insights real quick and show you the main problem that I have in this particular site with using this plugin. And then we're going to go over to W3 Total Cache, optimize that real fast, and see if we can find a difference. So here you go. Content should be viewed. It's not showing right. That's actually new. Did not render in JavaScript. So see, there's a lot of issues that we're having right off the bat with using WP Rocket. So let's deactivate this. Remember, you can't have two caching plugins turn on at the same time. You'll just mess up your site. So one or the other is kind of the way it goes. Activate W3 Total Cache. and I'm going to leave all that because I'm changing stuff and get this message. This basically means that you had another cache plugin and it's found some stuff, so just click yes, remove it. It's never broken anything for me before, so you'd be all right, unless you're using WP Engine, in which case you don't want to turn page cache on at all. If you have WP Engine hosting, don't click that button because you'll crash your site. All right, so let's go to performance. I'm going to go over all the general settings for you. Enable page cache unless you're using WP Engine because you already have it. There's the minify settings, database, enable those, enable the object, enable browser, CDN if you're using it, obviously, and license code if you have it for W3 total cache. I used to have a pro license that didn't even need it. I found it useless and a waste of $99. So next, page cache. Click the first box, leave the second one blank, click the cache feeds, click cache SSL. You know for sure if you're never going to use HTTPS, then you can leave it blank. It's no big deal. I leave that blank. That's the search results pages and the cache 404. Since that's always going to show up, I'll reduce the load with that. And then I leave cache only requests. I leave that blank. The preload, I leave this default. Make sure that this is the correct sitemap address for your sitemap. And then the rest of the stuff I leave alone. Then go to minify. Now if you changed anything in that thing, obviously click save before you go to minify. And rewrite structures. Click on enable inline CSS and inline this. JSS I know breaks the site, so I want to turn that off. I know that this works, so I'll leave that on. And then I want to go down here, and sometimes you're going to get this message saying it cannot fix the automatic file name length test. Just click this and it gets rid of that error. It doesn't really, as I've seen, it doesn't make a difference on or off for page speed. I'm going to click save because I changed the CSS and the JS. And I'm going to go, and you see this message, hide my WordPress. Everyone knows he's got WordPress right now, so there's no sense in him hiding it anymore. And the plugin developer for Hide My WordPress then encode the integration between W3 Total Cache and his plugin, which is kind of short-sighted, so I'm going to go ahead and shut that off. Anything that it was saving, i.e. from hackers or whatever, iTheme Security does now anyway, so it's I don't see a need for having both. I'm going to empty all the caches because I turned off the plugin and I changed all that stuff in the minify section. The database you're going to leave alone just so you can see what comes on. That's already checked by default. And then leave all that stuff alone. Object cache, you can check it out. Just leave it alone. Don't change anything. And browser cache, you're going to change some stuff. Now, if we scroll down here, you'll see that there's a lot of stuff in here, but all you really need to worry about is this general box, and once you change the general box, it changes everything down here in vice versa. So click on set last modifier, set expired, set cache control, set entity tag, set W3 total cache header. Just helps identifying the optimized files, and that's for tools like that testing tool. And then HTML you want to keep, and then the last three just leave blank. And all these boxes and stuff that have stuff in it, just leave it alone. And I'm going to save settings one more time. Okay. User agents, refer groups, don't even worry about. CDN is exactly what it is if you're using it. Monitoring, you don't really have to worry about. Extensions, All we're going to turn on, because he's using the Yoast SEO plugin, you just want to activate that. This is the Cloudflare. If you use Cloudflare, never turn this on. If you don't use Cloudflare, never turn this on. You don't need it. It conflicts. Basically what it does is it tells Cloudflare, hey, these are my settings, but Cloudflare already has your settings, so why would you want to tell it again? And then all I've noticed is just causes problems, so I just always shut it off. I've never used it. And then if you're using Genesis, I've tried it with this on and with it off. Didn't notice any difference. Obviously, the developers for the theme recommend it, but again, I didn't notice any difference using it versus not using it, so I just chose to leave it off as well. We're going to go back to Minify because I have some things I need to add. Again, if Minify is what is going to break your site, if nothing breaks your site, Minify is going to do it. So I'm going to clear all that out because I already tested this before. And then I know that the responsive no longer works, so I have to add the CSS files for his responsiveness in there. I'm going to click save. Okay, and I empty the Minify cache. And then I want to analyze it one more time. Analyze it one more time. And you see how slow that is. That's the server speed. It's really slow. Render JSS, JavaScript, and CSS above the fold. We can't do it because of the plugins and the theme. If we turn on too much stuff, it breaks the theme. And reduce their server response time. Basically, there's nothing you can do except get a new host. And now we are in the green here. Again, there's nothing we can do about that. Whether you have these turned on or not, for whatever reason, PageSpeed Insights and all the other test tools are going to keep showing it. So if you have one CSS that's not minified, you have one JavaScript that's not minified, or they're all minified, it doesn't matter. It's always going to get shown, so don't freak out about it. And again, we're better now on the mobile. I'm going to analyze it one more time just to make it test. And then we're going to go over here. Remember, this is W3 Rocket. I'm going to make sure we're in San Jose and test this again. And look at the host, taking forever. The new lines are the host showing the cache now. All right, we reduce that page size. I'm going to test it one more time. Host is responding a little bit faster. See, 9.3. And we look here and we see something's broke. Okay. So let's go here. This is a private window because there's a cache, so you can't have your browsers full with the previous site, or it's always going to look perfect to you. And there you go, it's broken. So what do we need to remove from one of these files? I know all of those work. Animations. Save. And it's a minify. It's always the minify. Whatever something breaks, it's the minify that does it. So let's see, combine only. We added those two. Let's cut that one. Save. I'm going to empty all the caches just to be on the safe side. I'm going to analyze this again to make sure that responsiveness is working. And while that's doing that, we're going to go in here and make sure to see if the page is loading correctly. And it's not. But the mobile's still working, so that's good. And we're going to keep adding files and keep going through this entire process until through elimination we figure out what is the cause. Which CSS file is the one that's causing this issue. Again, as you saw in the other, for the wrong window. As you saw for WP Rocket, it worked with just the code that I had entered in there just now. So. But you have to do a little bit more with W3 Total Cache. Nothing, that's not working. Now, you have to go through this with your theme. More often than not, the answer is going to be no. Because a lot of developers already are pretty much keenly aware that they need to take advantage of minification. So some of them are already putting it into their themes and some of their features. Plugin developers are putting this into their features, etc. And I didn't clear the caches. So you probably won't have to do this with yours. And I'm going to continue with this process real quick, and then once I figure it out, or which one it is, then I'll come back. Okay, I wanted to stop that because I was changing buttons and mashing and stuff. So what I did in W3 Total Cache is I turned off JavaScript and CSS minification completely. And now we're going to check the site one more time to make sure that it is working properly. So let's load it up. And the site's loading properly. All that animation and pretty cool guy stuff is working. So let's test. Make sure it's from San Jose. I'm going to test the InPageSpeed Insights again as well. .6 seconds. Close that crap. I'm going to test it one more time. And again, that error was never going to go away. Not with this theme anyway. And that error is never going to go away. Not with this theme anyway. 5.7. So what we learned is on his host with his theme, W3 Total Cache is not going to work properly. So we're going to need to use WP Rocket, and we'll get a better result. So let's deactivate W3 Total Cache. And then we'll reactivate his Hide My WordPress because it's his and he wants it on. So that. I'm going to delete W3 Total Cache because, you know, we don't need the plugin and I don't want him to accidentally turn it on when he's got two caching plugins turned on. So we're going to go ahead and delete that. While it's doing that, I want to test it again. I'm going to test PageSpeed Insights again. Make sure we got everything covered. I think we're gonna have to change something in this to make that compliant. Well, that's testing from Dallas, so we'll have to fix that in a minute. And see, we have to add that responsiveness codes that we added before in the other plugin to the CSS. So let's go to settings of WP Rocket. Advanced options. Put the responsiveness stuff back in there so that the mobile version works properly. And we'll wait for his host to decide it wants to work today. And I see that spinning circle's gone away. So sometimes you're going to see that. Did you notice that it didn't have a location, and then when it was testing it said Dallas, Texas? For whatever reason, it just kind of does its own thing every once in a while, so you got to watch. And there it's doing it again from Dallas, Texas. We don't want Dallas, Texas. So I am going to clear this completely, and we're going to force refresh it and see if we can't get it to test from where we want it to test from. Copy, paste. And there's testing for California now. Analyze again. And as we do that, it will, there you go, 157. So you see it's a lot faster on WP Rocket. The mobile is fixed and it looks like it's working properly. Okay, so mobile's there, it's working. User experience, it's happy with user experience. Passed the test there. So I'm happy. Page speed 157, pretty good. Considering we started off at 5-second load time, 157 is not too bad. We'll do it again just to see. 164. So we're staying consistent. Insights is happy. The test is happy. Let's see what this one says. We'll click on retest. Remember, the page speed, we have to take a grain of salt because it is Vancouver, Canada, and his site is loading from a host on the West Coast. And we're on B's now, from C's to B's, was pretty good. Inline CSS, we know we can't do with this theme, it'll break it. JavaScript, we know we can't do with this theme, it'll break it. This says theme is broken, theme will break it. This we've already done, and that's all theme. Let's go to YSlow. Fewer HT, nothing we can do because it's got to load all of that CSS or else it'll break it, right? And then the content delivery network, if he adds this, it'll take a lot of pressure off of those images and it'll reduce that speed. So I think with just the simple addition of Cloudflare, this will actually get a little bit better, and he can be down into the 1.3 to 1.5 range with just Cloudflare, and maybe even better. So that is it. That's how I go through the process of speeding up a website. It's a lot of trial and error, especially with the minification stuff. As you've seen, if you don't know where to get the resources, i.e. all the codes and stuff that is adding to these, obviously you can search on the internet and find the tools, or just find someone else who knows how to do all that stuff and let them worry about it. So if you have any questions, make sure you hit us up in the Facebook group, and I'll see you inside there later on. Bye.